Hi folks, Ronnie here from Life Change Tea. There's a lot of hubbub about the ramifications of GMOs. First of all, what are GMOs? Genetically modified organisms. Yee! Man-made organisms entering our body, changing and damaging us from the inside out. What's our defense? First of all, not eating them. Second, cleansing from them when we do eat them. Thank God for Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea cleanses from toxins, heavy metals, and helps flush GMOs out of your body. Our unique blend of herbs help cleanse you from the inside out, helping you feel refreshed and clean of yee. We also carry unique one-of-a-kind supplements. So order online at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Rid yourself of the yee that contaminates your food and water. Go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Get the tea, your best defense.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by emailrevealer.com. Go to emailrevealer.com if you want to get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You can go there if you want to locate somebody. It's an adoption investigation. You want to locate the loved one who was separated through the adoption process. Asset searches, background reports, email tracing. You need a name and address from someone's email address. And the online infidelity investigation, where we catch people cheating online. We trace them back to online dating websites and personal ads. We've got a returning guest, a very, very popular guest. People loved him last time, Khalil Amani. You can find him online. You can just Google Khalil Amani, Khalil, and the last name is Amani, Amani. Or you can go straight to his website, which Khalil Amani Reader, to find his writings. He's an author of about 7 books. I'll have him tell you about that. But also, too, he came on a show last month to talk about his experience with the Yahweh Ben Yahweh cult. And it was just a fascinating story. So many people enjoyed it. Khalil Amani, are you there?
I'm here. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for coming back.
No problem.
Why don't you remind the audience of who you are? You know, the whole story there. And then we'll get into Afrika Bambaataa from the Black Spades and the Zulu Nation.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Khalil Amani. If you heard my last interview, that's my backstory is that I was a part of the Yahweh cult. And through getting out of that, I ended up becoming a witness against the cult and having to go into the witness protection program and having my name and identity changed. And thus I became Khalil Amani. I'm a writer. I've written 7 books, as you said. And I found my way into this whole Afrika Bambaataa narrative kind of by happenstance. That's where we're at.
Why don't you describe some of your books, though, before we get into Afrika Bambaataa?
Okay, well, after leaving the cult, I actually went back to school, went back to college. I went to the University of Nebraska, and I was a religion major, so I kind of wanted to find out, why I would join a cult and, why would I believe that a mere mortal man is God in the flesh. So I became a religion major and a Black Studies major, so I delved heavy into religion. And in that process of reading so many books of a religious nature, I decided I need to write a book and get some stuff off my chest. So I did, and I wrote one book, but the volume was so large that they ended up making it into 3 books, and it's called Ghetto Religiosity. There's like a Ghetto Religiosity 1, 2, and 3. Basically, it was my deconstruction of Judeo-Christian thought and all that kind of stuff. And so I wrote those books. And now I also wrote an autobiography detailing my life in the Yahweh cult. It's called Ignorant and Dysfunctional, My Life in the Yahweh Cult and the Witness Protection Program. I wrote that book just to kind of share with my life as far as the cult experience, and even more so after leaving the cult, dealing with like the government and the Witness Protection Program. And that whole thing of how the government erases you and brings you back as a new person. So that's kind of a very introspective and enlightening book. So, and I wrote some other books on dealing with like hip hop and music, that kind of thing. I'm kind of really engrossed in the hip hop culture right now. So that's where we're at.
That's interesting because you became a student of religions, and it caused you to lose your faith, right?
Yeah, I kind of, after leaving the Yahweh cult, there was probably 4 or 5 years where I didn't want to talk about God at all. I definitely didn't have a faith. And actually, even now, I don't subscribe to any particular religious persuasion. I understand all of them because I've studied all of them. All of them. I've studied them all, and just kind of trying to find the commonalities between them and differences. And I just don't believe at this point in my life that God can be encompassed in any one religion. Like you can say, okay, this is the truth. I think that this thing that we call God is bigger than any and all of our religions put together. So you can't really put him in a box and say his truth is found in Christianity or Islam or Judaism or any Buddhism or anything. You just have to know that there is something higher than yourself and try to live right. That's where I'm at.
Okay, very interesting. I tell you, people got to go back and find the first show we did with Khalil Amani, where we talk about the Yahweh Ben Yahweh cult. Fascinating life, fascinating show. I can't thank you enough. Why don't you tell us now, first of all, who is Afrika Bambaataa?
Okay, so Afrika Bambaataa, if you're a hip-hop/rap fan, you may have heard of them. Of course, I'm first-generation hip-hop. When the first hip-hop song came on the radio, which was Rapper's Delight, I was 19 years old. And, of course, I fell headlong into the music and loving the music. But Afrika Bambaataa was one of the early pioneers of the rap genre. He's known for, Planet Rock, I believe it is. They call him the godfather of hip-hop. He's somebody who's feared and revered within hip-hop. He's called the godfather of hip-hop. He's worked with people like James Brown in the past. They've done samples together and records. And he also became the member of one of the leaders of the Zulu Nation. His early life, I guess he was one member of the Black Spades. It's not clear if he was a leader or not, because I've heard he's a leader, and I heard he wasn't a leader, but he was a member of the Black Spades. He moved to, which was a gang out of New York City. He moved away from that and formed something called the Zulu Nation, and they were basically trying to steer young people away from gang activity, and Zulu became a part of what they called hip hop, which was an early form of a music culture called rap music. And so Bambaataa became one of our earliest fathers of the whole hip hop movement. And it was amazing that you'd be surprised how many rappers today don't know who Afrika Bambaataa is, and they're in the rap music. But he was one of the early fathers of rap music. That's basically who he was, or is.
Okay, I'm familiar with the Black Spades because I grew up in the Bronx right around that same time. And very familiar with Rapper's Delight. I knew every single word. I could probably sing it right now if I had to.
Absolutely.
It gives you chills, man, when it comes back on. You just get those chills on your spine. It's just so new and fresh and beautiful, man. Yeah, what a different world back in the 70s. Yeah, I tell you, what's going on? It's kind of, But now, Black Spades, pretty much a streak. And as a matter of fact, they came to my school, my grammar school, which was a Catholic school, Blessed Sacrament, and they demanded that the school gives scholarships to young black kids to kind of desegregate the school. Not segregate. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And then so they were politically active, the Black Spades, although there were other things going on. But then Zulu Nation, was it a religious-based organization as well?
Well, people go back and forth about that too, because they do. The Zulu Nation, their religious ideology bases around what they call Kemetic thinking, which is Kemet is from Egypt. Kemetic thinking, and also more science from Noble Drew Ali. But a lot of the members aren't really religious. You don't have to be religious to become a member of the Zulu Nation. It was more about activism, doing things for the community, that kind of thing. But they do have Afrika Bambaataa and and a lot of the members, they do have a religious base, which is Kemetic/Egyptian ideology and Moorish science. If you notice their outfits, their dress, you'll see them with the Ankh, which is it looks like a cross with a circle on the top, which is called the Ankh, and it's an Egyptian symbol. So you'll see them back in the old days. You see them wearing the little round leather patches with the symbol of Africa on it and the red, black, and green colors.
Right.
So there's not just religious, there's also nationalistic tones, because Zulus, like from South Africa, they were a major tribe, major group in South Africa. So from what I understand, Afrika Bambaataa went to Africa and kind of got up on the Zulu traditions and kind of brought that back to America and started the Zulu Nation.
And today, the Zulu Nation is international. They have chapters in every country.
Yeah, I've heard they have chapters on 6 of the 7 continents.
Mm.
They're heavy in Brazil, England, America, and other places. They're still thriving.
And how many members do you think?
Oh, I don't even have a clue what the numbers. I know it's in the thousands. In the thousands. I have no idea.
Right. And Afrika Bambaataa
they've been around for 40 years, so it's a lot of people. And it's hard to count them, because you got people who are still members, you got people who are past members who are still members, but they've grown up and got families now, but they still represent Zulu Nation, that kind of thing. So it's thousands of them.
And Afrika Bambaataa is the undisputed leader?
He, at one time, he was the undisputed leader. Supposedly, a guy named Ahmed Henderson is the leader of the Zulu Nation. But when you speak Zulu Nation, you don't think about whoever this guy named Ahmed Henderson is, which basically is Afrika Bambaataa's right-hand man. So for all intents and purposes, Afrika Bambaataa is still the leader of the Zulu Nation, although they may have somebody's name representing as the head of the Zulu Nation right now. He still pulls the strings. No question about that.
Yeah, with this recent thing, this Me Too thing, all these, you see these Russell Simmons stepping down and Steve Wynn stepping down, but everybody knows they're still pulling the strings behind the scenes. Are you kidding me? I'm going to step down. Give me a break. So now, I guess we're at the stage now where there's some allegations, right?
Right. So, yeah. So if you've been under a rock, or unless you're not in tune with what's going on in hip hop, Afrika Bambaataa was not formally charged by the government, but the allegations were made that he liked teenage boys. And the most recent allegation from 2013 is that he stabbed a young Spanish kid. We don't know the age. He could be a minor. He could be over the age of 18, but no less a young man. After supposedly Afrika Bambaataa giving him a date rape drug. And then the story goes, when the guy passed out, Afrika Bambaataa performed oral sex on him. And some kind of way the guy woke up, realized what was happening to him, and went in the kitchen and got a knife and started stabbing Bambaataa. And the same guy, Ahmed Henderson, who I just mentioned, was in the next room. He heard some noise and ran in there and tried to break up the scuffle between Bambaataa and the young Spanish kid, and he too was stabbed. So on the night of April 1st, 2013, he was admitted to Jacobi Hospital in New York City. Supposedly, he told the media that he had chest pains, that Afrika Bambaataa had chest pains. That's why he was admitted to the hospital. But we've confirmed pretty much that was the cover story. The real truth is that he was there for stab wounds to his chest and back, supposedly, or stomach, or wherever. So that's kind of where I come in at. Now, how do I find out the story?
Wait, one second first. Their claim was that they both had chest pains at the same time and went down to the hospital?
No, the claim was that Afrika Bambaataa had chest pains.
Okay.
No one mentioned the other guy who was stabbed.
Right.
That came out in an article by a writer out of Canada named Dave Wedge. He writes for a site called Noisy. It's also called ViceThump.com. And he's a pretty well respected writer in his own right. And he talked to a lot of the major players, and it basically came out that Ahmed Henderson, who was Afrika Bambaataa's right-hand man, was stabbed also. But he was left out of the equation because he's a nobody. We don't know who he is, but we do know Afrika Bambaataa. So the story centered around the fact that this young Spanish kid stabbed him, and so Afrika Bambaataa went to the hospital to get his wounds treated. But he put out at allhiphop.com, which is one of the more respected hip hop sites. I actually write for them too. At allhiphop.com, they ran an article saying that indeed he did go to the hospital, but it was because he had chest pain, and it just so coincided. I think it was around his birthday too, like that all this stuff came out in the media, and so that was the official rule that Afrika Bambaataa was just dealing with chest pain.
Okay, a couple of questions. Now, the Spanish kid, we just keep calling him the Spanish kid. Has anybody talked to this kid, identified him or anything like that?
Well, no one knows his name as of now, but they're like going back to the Dave Wedge article. He writes that after, not only he writes it, but even there's a young fellow who was a part of the Zulu Nation. He goes by Poppy. His name is Hassan Campbell. And Hassan Campbell says on one of his interviews that after Afrika Bambaataa got stabbed, he went to the hospital. Him and 100 soldiers met at the hospital. But shortly thereafter, Afrika Bambaataa gave a picture of this young Spanish kid to this guy named Poppy and asked him to take care of, to put a hit on him, to kill the guy. Poppy says he looked at the picture and said that it was a younger version of himself. And Poppy clearly himself is a Spanish kid. He looks like he may be Puerto Rican and black. I'm not sure what his nationality is, but on sight, he looks like he's Puerto Rican and black or Hispanic and black mixed. And then Poppy goes on to say that he went looking for the Spanish kid and ran into the Spanish kid's brother. And the Spanish kid's brother told Poppy basically that his brother was defending himself against Afrika Bambaataa date raping him. That's why he did what he did. Now, after that, the story drops off the radar. We don't know if the young Spanish kid is alive or dead. Thus, a YouTuber named Israel Doctrine has started a campaign called "What Happened to That Boy?" And that's kind of what's going on right now. People are trying to find out what's going on. What happened to the Spanish kid? Is he alive? Is he dead? Can he come forward? Will he come forward? Is he in hiding? Because he hasn't been identified yet.
But what about Poppy now? Has he gone to the cops or anything like that? What's going on with him today?
Well, you would think he would do the right thing, but Poppy is a street dude. Poppy is what he would consider himself, a street dude, a gangster. He said that he was one of Afrika Bambaataa's soldiers. And Poppy was Poppy is the second. Poppy was, let's deal with his story. Poppy also himself was molested by Afrika Bambaataa. Poppy was the second person to come forward. The story goes like this. Back in 2015, I think it is, Poppy, as a member of the Nation of Islam, one night he got upset. He was having drinks. He got a little tipsy. He made a video outing Afrika Bambaataa for molesting him. He put it on Facebook, and immediately one of his higher-up Zulu member brothers, I think his name was last name Muhammad, Stanley Muhammad or something to that effect, called him and said, "Take that video down." And of course, he took it down. So the video was only up for maybe an hour. No one really saw it except for some of his Zulu brothers and sisters, maybe. But the general public didn't really come out yet. Now, after that, a guy named Ronald Savage put out he appeared on a YouTube show called Star in the Morning by YouTuber Star. And he officially was the first one to come out and say that Afrika Bambaataa molested him as a young man. He also wrote a book wherein he doesn't call Afrika Bambaataa's name, but he mentions a famous hip-hop personality who had been molesting him. And then he gets on the show, and then, of course, the guy Star, this YouTuber, this guy named Star, who's a YouTuber, he's the one that actually made this story come to life. So by this guy named Ronald Savage, who came forward with his story. When Ronald Savage came forward on the YouTube channel, the guy Poppy, that old video that he had made, that he had put up for like an hour, it mysteriously popped up. So now he's back in the picture. Now, Poppy's story is that after he took the video down, he had a meeting with Afrika Bambaataa and some of the council members where Afrika Bambaataa basically apologized for molesting him. And Poppy asked for 3 things. Those 3 things were he wanted to get a tombstone for one of his fallen comrades, a guy named B.O. Poppy is named after this guy. He's called himself Baby B.O. So he wanted Afrika Bambaataa to get a tombstone for his partner. He wanted him to step down as the head of the Zulu Nation. And he also wanted Afrika Bambaataa to put some money up and maybe start a rec center or something for the children, which is ironic because he's been accused of messing with children.
That's the last guy you want around a rec center, man.
Yeah, that's what Poppy asked for. Okay. And so Poppy, after Poppy made his demands, he said he would basically be quiet, shut up, and he was satisfied with that, even though Bambaataa never fulfilled any of those 3 things for him. But Poppy said he would shut up and be quiet if he did those things. Now comes this old video that resurfaces after this meeting. So he's thrust back into the storyline. And, of course, he doesn't want to. In Poppy's own words, he says when that video resurfaced, he says, I wanted to split Ronald Savage's head to the white meat. The guy who came out.
All right.
He was mad at him because now that he's out, now his old video came out. So Poppy's basically thrust back into the storyline, even though he had made his peace with Bambaataa over being molested. Oh, I'm gonna grab my phone. Even though he made his peace. So that's Poppy's story. Now, I know you had Israel Doxson on your show.
Right.
And now his part is that he basically comes along as a YouTuber and begins to, at first he's on Poppy's side. Everybody's on Poppy's side. Basically, we feel for his story and whatnot because he was molested by Afrika Bambaataa. So Israel Doxson begins to dig deeper into the story to see, the players and when this came about, and just begin to do internet research. And then somebody named Khalil, myself,
right,
I pop up on his radar. And he realizes that, because at this time, Star, who is this pretty famous YouTuber, he's basically taking the credit for breaking the story, being the one that outed Bambaataa, and which he did break the story. I give him all credit for that. But the genesis of the whole Afrika Bambaataa story goes back to Khalil, to myself. I'm the first person to write about Afrika Bambaataa date raping this guy, getting stabbed, and liking teenage kids. Now, you ask me how did I find out about this?
You took the words right out of my mouth, yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was saying.
So, now I'm gonna give you a little backstory.
Okay.
My backstory in hip hop goes back to 2007. In 2007, I wrote a book where it's called Hip Hop Homophobes. And basically I had run into a gay rapper, a openly gay gangster rapper. And like most people, I was like, wow, you are a gay gangster rapper? And outwardly gay, not trying to hide it. So, and he began to tell me that there was this whole subgenre of gay and lesbian transgender rappers. I said, wow, I didn't know that. I mean, we hear all the time about who we suspect might be gay and all that kind of stuff, but that's just people talking. So he introduced me to this whole subgenre of gay, lesbian, transgender rappers. And as a writer, I was fascinated with it. And so I wrote this book based on, my research and going to gay hip hop shows and meeting the players and who's who and whatnot. So I wrote this book in 2007. After I wrote the book, I wrote this article called Why Gay Hip Hop. Now we're talking about the old MySpace days. This is before Facebook was actually popping. This was MySpace. And back in those days, I would take my little articles and blogs and put them on MySpace and just kind of send them out to famous people or people who had influence and whatnot, It's kind of like I was fishing, just throwing them out there and see who would respond.
Mm-hmm.
Well, lo and behold, legendary DJ out of New York, DJ K-Slay, he's called the Drama King because back in the days, he was in a drama field. He's the DJ who refereed the Nas and Jay-Z beef back in those days. If you remember that he's still on the radio. He's on Hot 97 right now, and he's also on Sirius Satellite Radio right now. DJ K-Slay, New York City, legendary. So he reached out. He read that article, Why Gay Hip Hop, and he reached out to me. But he didn't reach out in a good light. He reached out and basically said I was full of mess. No gay person has any business in the rap world. Basically, that was his premise. So we began, of course, I had to come right back with my own retort, which I'm a writer. He's not a writer. So my writing basically was killing whatever he was saying. And so we went back and forth about 10, 11 MySpace emails, just debating, do gay people have a voice in hip hop? Now, I come from the era, like you said, back in 79 when Rapper's Delight came out. I looked at rap music as a genre that spoke to the marginalized and disenfranchised and, just the lowlife and street people, not rich people and stuff like that. So in my mind, I rationalized that gay people had as much right to speak and have their voices heard in mainstream hip hop as any straight person. That was my premise. And that was the premise of my book. So long story short, after about 10, 11 emails back and forth between me and this famous DJ, he reached out and said, call me. Now, when he asked me to call him, I said to myself, I'm not going to call him because if you knew K-Slay, if you knew his demeanor, he's known for really like cursing out people. Like if you were in his presence, maybe even punching you. Like he's a big man and he has a big voice. And I didn't want to hear him curse me out on the telephone. So I was like, I'm not calling him. His point is clear. He doesn't like what I'm saying. He reached out again 2 or 3 more times, call me. So then about the third time, I said to myself, Khalil, man up. He's in New York. You're 2,000 miles away. What can he really do to you over the phone? And so I called him. To my surprise, DJ K-Slay, his demeanor was soft-spoken, very contrite, almost apologetic. And, well, the first thing he said to me was, man, I just want you to know you got a mean pen game. In other words, he thought I was a pretty good writer. Right. I said, thank you. And so I'm just going to listen because I already know his stance that he's not feeling what I'm saying. But to my surprise now, we're talking 2007. To my surprise, he says, I've changed my view on the whole gay thing, whole gay rapper thing. I think you have a point. I think that hip hop or rap should not be limited to just people who are straight. And I said, wow, really? And I was blown away. And then he said, now he knows I'm a blogger. And I don't know why he would tell me this, because as a blogger and a writer, I'm apt to go and write about what you're saying on the telephone. But he didn't just said it. He said, I used to be a member of the Zulu Nation, and I was a member of the Black Spades as a teenager, which I knew that already, but I just let him talk. And then he says to me, Afrika Bambaataa, this is 2007. He says, Afrika Bambaataa, he liked them teenage boys. I said, what? It's 2007. I said, you mean the godfather of hip hop is gay? He said, dude, that's common knowledge in the street. He said, we used to go get them teenage boys for him. We meaning the Zulu Nation, not personally himself, but right. As a group, they would bring, and I'm sitting there scratching my head, shaking my head. I'm just in awe. My mouth is hanging open. Now, mind you, 2007, I gave myself the self-title as Gay Hip Hop Straight Advocate. I self-proclaimed because I was the only straight dude that I knew that was advocating on behalf of gay rappers. So I said, I'm Gay Hip Hop Straight Advocate. And so here he is dropping this knowledge on gay hip hop's straight advocate that the godfather of hip hop, one of the founders of this hip hop rap genre, is gay. Not only is he gay, he might be a pedophile. He never used that word pedophile, but he just said young boys. And I'm thinking, so I'm thinking, my God. So long story short, he asked me, K-Slay also owns a magazine. He owns 2 magazines. One's called Originators and the other is called Straight Stuntin' Magazine. And he asked me, he says, can you write an article about the gay rap thing for my magazine? I said, really? You sure? He said, yeah, I want, yeah. I said, okay. I'll send it to you shortly in a couple of days. I actually sent it to him the next day because I actually had it written already. So, so the next day I sent him the article. But now I'm walking around in the daze and the fog with the knowledge and information that Afrika Bambaataa, according to DJ K-Slay, is gay, likes teenage boys, been doing this for, umpteen years. And I'm thinking, what does K-Slay want me to do with this information? I'm a writer. I'm a blogger. I can't keep this in my soul, but I did. Because
well, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be back with the rest of this story. I got a bunch of questions for you, too. Okay, we're with Khalil Amani. We're talking about Afrika Bambaataa, who was the head of the leadership of the Black Spades back in the 70s, then went on to found the Zulu Nation, godfather of hip-hop, and a lot of people know his name. Allegations of child molestation, pedophilia, basically.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Hi folks, Ronnie here from Life Change Tea. There's a lot of hubbub about the ramifications of GMOs. First of all, what are GMOs? Genetically modified organisms. Yee! Man-made organisms entering our body, changing and damaging us from the inside out. What's our defense? First of all, not eating them. Second, cleansing from them when we do eat them. Thank God for Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea cleanses from toxins, heavy metals, and helps flush GMOs out of your body. Our unique blend of herbs help cleanse you from the inside out, helping you feel refreshed and clean of yee. We also carry unique one-of-a-kind supplements. So order online at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Rid yourself of the yee that contaminates your food and water. Go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Get the tea, your best defense.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company. They're located in India, so you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service. They offer all sorts of business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshoring, research network, customer care, press release, content writing and distribution, and much, much more. Now you can get a hold of Subash Technosis by email at info@subhashtechnosis.com. Their website is www.subhashtechnosis.com, and their Skype is ANUSHASUBASH. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all those kind of different services for you and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here with Khalil Amani, and he's telling us the story of Afrika Bambaataa. Now, Mr. Amani, when K-Slay told you this, did he say, hey, this is off the record?
No, that's the interesting thing. I got off the phone. I assumed it was off the record because it's such a fire kig, or whatever you want to call it. But no, he never said, this is off the record. That he never said anything. And in fact, he knew I was a writer and a blogger. So I was thinking maybe he doesn't want to tell me to put it out there, but he wants me to put it out there. But because he didn't say yay or nay, I never spoke on it from 2007 until 2013, was almost 6 years later. I never spoke on it. I held it.
And what about K-Slay today? Does he confirm this conversation or does he deny it?
Well, you're actually basically getting the exclusive on who said what, because in every other interview I've pretty much given, I never even said where my sources came from. Even in the Dave Wedge article, I simply say my New York sources, because it wasn't just K-Slay. I actually had intel from Zulu Nation Insider that reached out to me on Twitter and then asked to speak to me over the phone, and then they confirmed what had happened to Afrika Bambaataa on April 1st being stabbed. So it wasn't just K-Slay. I just had K-Slay, when I heard about the stabbing of Afrika Bambaataa and what it was about, it confirmed what he had told me 5 years previous. I'm like, whoa, because I really wasn't sure if I believed K-Slay. I had no reason not to believe him because he's a New Yorker. I did know that he was a member of the Zulus and the Black Spades, so why would he make up a lie on Bambaataa like that? But it was just such a hard thing for me to even comprehend. But it confirmed what I kind of believed about, if you know about hip hop or rap music, kind of coming rolling off the backs of the whole disco era. We know the disco era was basically a movement that started by gay people. The costumes, the dress, gays were heavily influenced. So when you look at the early pioneers of hip hop and rap, Afrika Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five, you look at their costumes, their dress, you put them right next to the village people, and you can't tell who's as far as who's gay, who's straight, because they all have these costumes, these really outlandish costumes, straight out of the disco era. And that was their, when you look at early hip hop, that's what you see, all these elaborate costumes.
Yeah, absolutely. But back to K-Slay. Now, this is the first time you said publicly that K-Slay was the source of this information.
Yeah, this is it.
And have you talked to him since 2007 or 2007 until today? Have you talked to K-Slay again?
I've talked to K-Slay 100 times since then. I still write for his magazine.
Okay. And does he know that you're releasing his name today?
I haven't a clue. The reason okay. I'll tell you why I'm saying his name today is because his name has been brought into the story via YouTube anyway. Okay. And his name has been brought in to the story. You know the guy we talked about named Hassan Poppy Campbell?
Yes.
That we talked about earlier? Well, he did a blog on me maybe a month ago asking the question to DJ K-Slay. Does DJ K-Slay know he's running with the snitch?
Oh, because they're calling you a snitch because of the Yahweh Ben Yahweh thing?
Exactly.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I'm a criminal defense investigator, okay? I don't like snitches either, but in a situation like that where you're in the middle of a cult and they're cutting people's heads off, my God, you gotta give me a break. The code of silence has its limits.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, man? You got a murderous cult out there cutting heads off.
There's a street code, right? There's a street code, and this is not that.
Right.
But to a guy like Poppy, who considers himself a street guy, just the fact that I have admitted, I have written about it, I've been on national TV, I've written books about it, other books have been written about me and my life in the cult and the Witness Protection Program and being a government informant. Because of that, he's taken that and went on YouTube and said that basically I'm a snitch and asked K-Slay. He doesn't call K-Slay personally and say, hey, do you know that guy Kill Little Money that writes for your magazine? Do you know he worked with the government? He doesn't do that. He puts it out for the world. And of course, within days, I get a call from DJ K-Slay going, ho, what's going on? What's this I'm hearing? Now, they asked the question, does K-Slay, did he know my backstory? Yes, he knew my backstory. But when you know someone's backstory, you know that this was not a case of someone in the street snitching to save myself,
right.
All that street stuff. This was a cult, like you said, that was cutting people's heads off. and the guy was a pedophile. I did a righteous thing.
Yeah, right.
Going to the government.
Yeah, I would have to weigh in on that. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what he did. So Poppy puts this out. So yeah, I'm always in contact with K-Slay. But like I said, recently he reached out to me, and I actually made a retort video to Poppy, basically saying that me and DJ K-Slay's so-called relationship is basically business. I write for him when he needs articles. Yeah, he calls me or texts me and says, "Hey, I need a new article." And that's basically the extent of our relationship. It's not like, because Poppy was trying to make it like we run together, like, and because K. Slay has street cred and he has industry cred. And so Poppy basically just took a big old dump on K. Slay. So I don't know how that's going to work out when those two gentlemen see each other because they live in the same city. So that's that.
And also, too, it's not like you'll consider like a civilian. You're not mingling with people that are in organized crime. That are doing activities that need to be worried about snitches. Am I correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
You're
I'm
a civilian.
Anyway. I'm not bound by the street code. I've always been a civilian.
Yeah.
I've never been a gangbanger, a street dude, none of that. Now, here's the ironic twist. Poppy just called the FBI, just called the police, New York police, live on YouTube because he also received the video of the young girl being molested by the man. So he did a video and went live and called the police, and we saw the police come through his door, and he talked to the police and he turned the camera off, but he wanted us to see that he was calling the police to, in street terms, snitch.
Cop caller.
Yeah.
That's the definition of a cop caller. You're on the phone with the cops. Well, let me ask you this now, because we talked about that off the air, about that Israel Doctrine received a video of child pornography and then someone called the police on him. Give us the background on what's going on with that.
Well, after it started with Poppy. Poppy's the first one to put the video out and did the whole, I'm going to call the police on YouTube live on air so y'all can see that I'm reporting this video. Okay, right after that, Israel Doctrine, he did a video talking about Poppy's video calling the police. And then in his video, he said that he also received the same video. The difference is Poppy readily admits that he opened the video up and watched it. I think he said he watched it several times. There's even video of him describing the sex act. Poppy described the sex act to his listeners, to his viewers. Contrary to that, Israel Doctrine gets the same video, and he sees the thumbnail showing that, I guess it's a sexual thumbnail, and he knows that this is pedophilia stuff, and he says he does not open it, and he says it's already been, in his mind, he rationalizes that it's already been reported because Poppy reported it to the police, so there's no need for him to report it. It's being reported. Somebody watches Israel Doctrine's video and says, and decides, I think it was more than one person, that decides they're going to call the cops in his state, in his city, to say that he has the video. And so he does a video showing us that the police come to his house. And there's a video out there where, not the police, the sheriffs, they come to Israel Doctrine's house, and you hear him talking to the police, the sheriffs, and telling them, and he explains this whole thing, why that someone's calling on him because it's his enemy and they're probably out of New York. He doesn't say who it is because he doesn't really know, but we suspect who it could be. So that was that. Nothing ever came of it. They left, and he basically was clear there was nothing to it. And as Israel Doctrine has said, he didn't even open the video up. You can't help who sends you stuff. It's when you open it up and look at it, and then you send it. That's when it becomes the problem. And Israel Doctrine did not violate. He did not open it up, and he did not send it. So
it's kind of ironic too that in the current situation, all these other guys are calling the cops, and you're not. They complain about you, and they're all picking up the phone. Okay,
yeah, isn't that ironic? And that's a quick story.
It's not lost on me. Trust me. Now, what about the Zulu Nation? Have they contacted you and confronted you, threatened you? What's going on with that?
Okay, so now going back to 2013, let's deal with this. So I had already had intel that Afrika Bambaataa from 2007 was gay and was a pedophile, basically. I had that intel. So on April 1st, 2013, the stabbing goes down. I get a call from DJ K. Slay about midnight. I normally don't even answer my phone, but when I see it's K. Slay, I pick it up because I know something. And so I picked it up, and he began to tell me the story that Afrika Bambaataa had just got stabbed, and told me why he got stabbed, because he was date raped. He gave some guy a date rape drug, and the guy stabbed him. That's the story that DJ K. Slay relayed to me. Within the same week, I got a Twitter email from a Zulu official who also confirmed this incident. Now, April 1st this happened. April 2nd, which was that morning, I got up that morning. I was off from work or whatever, and I wrote an article. And the article is still on my site. I wrote an article called Afrika Bambaataa, Gay and Date Raping? ? That was on April 2nd, 2013. Within days of that article being published, which was the first, DJ K-Slade called me within a week and said, hey, I've been contacted by the Zulu Nation because they realize that you write for my magazine and they are telling you to ask me to take it down or suffer dire consequences. Basically, they were going to put hands on me. They were going to hit me, kill me, do something to me. So K-Slade said, yeah, you probably should take it down because, you know, they really about that life. They do those kinds of things. So I took it down, maybe April 4th or 5th, something like that. I took it down. But then I realized that the article, even though, you know, once you put something on the internet, it takes flight. It takes wings. I realized that allhiphop.com and some other sites had already picked it up and was flying with my article. And I was like, so I told myself, well, I'm just going to put it back up. And I put it back up. And that date is the timestamp that you see now. If you go to my site, it's April 17th, 19th, April 19th. Yeah, I think April 17th, 2013. That's the second publishing of the article that's on there now. And I let it stay up. And, you know, I didn't hear any more from K-Slade about it. And from there, it took wings. I sent it to a guy named Star, who I talked about earlier, who was a YouTuber, famous YouTuber. I sent it to him on April the 13th. I still have the emails that I sent it to him because if you're following the story right now, there's a whole rift about who did what first. And the only reason I really care about it is because Israel Doctrine, in his research in the Afrika Bambaataa story, brought me into the narrative and basically said to Star and to Poppy and to those people, hey, this guy here, Khalil is actually the first one to put this, you know, in the media, not Star. And so me and Star have had a little back and forth about it. But, you know, it's all based on Israel Doctrine's narrative that Khalil is actually the first media person to write about said story. And that is the truth. And so it's been out there since then, April 17, 2013. And that's the narrative. That's how I come into it.
Now, isn't there a story, too, that someone in the leadership of the Zulu Nation is also involved with NAMBLA?
Well, I'll tell you how that goes.
And you know what? Can you give me like another half hour after the break? Because we got like 10 minutes left.
Sure.
Okay, great. We'll do it. So you take your time, okay?
Okay.
So we're not taking a break now, though. I'm just saying that the story about the leadership being involved with NAMBLA.
It goes like this. I know there's another researcher that tried to make that connection, but he was a little bit off, and I'm the one that really kind of straightened it out. Basically, there is a NAMBLA connection, and that connection is NAMBLA is the North American Man-Boy Love Association. It's been out since like 79. They've yet to enact any laws to make man-boy love legal, but they are trying to, of course. So Poppy, this guy, Hassan Poppy Campbell, who was a victim of Afrika Bambaataa molestation, he's got a bad thing against gay people. I guess because Bambaataa is a man and Bambaataa molested him. So he started trying to say that homosexuality leads to pedophilia, which leads to bestiality. And now here I am as someone who was supporting Poppy, but then at the same time, understand that I am gay hip-hop's straight advocate for gay hip-hop and by extension, gay people. And I've been doing this since 2007. So here he is telling the world that homosexuality leads to pedophilia, which it doesn't, and there's no empirical scientific evidence to suggest such. And so I began writing articles about basically saying, you're wrong, guy, you're wrong, dude, you're wrong. And so he began to talk about NAMBLA. He brings NAMBLA into the equation, which is NAMBLA is basically defunct right now in 2018. But he brings it in there, and in true demagogic fashion, he tries to make he tried to tell his audience that this group is, they're on the horizons, and they're about to make it legal for men and boys to have sex, which is it's just not true. That's what they want to do, but they've been trying for 40 years. So anyway, I began to look into the whole NAMBLA thing, and lo and behold, one of the most prolific writers of NAMBLA and he's a writer. He's written many things. He's a philosopher.
Right.
His name is Peter Lamborn. That's his government name. But he became not a Zulu, he became a Moorish science. He became a Moorish science student as a young man, and he goes by the name of Hakim Bey. Now, there is a Hakim Bey who is a big Moorish science leader, a black man. But this Hakim Bey is an older white gentleman who was a writer for NAMBLA, who is a Moor, and the connection is that the Zulu Nation are Moors. They are Kemetic Moors. They believe in the message of a man called Noble Jew Ali. He's dead now, but he was a precursor to the whole Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad era. He's a precursor. But this guy, Hakim Bey, the white one, he advocates for man-boy love. He is a Moor, and you can actually just go to Wikipedia and Google his name. And it's like, he talked about his childhood. He talked about being influenced by this black organization called the Moorish Science Temple. Now you connect that with Afrika Bambaataa, who is a Moor himself, confirmed Moor, confirmed Kemetic thinker, and there's your connection. Now, it's not a connection that I would say that the white Hakim Bey actually talks to the Zulu Nation or talks to Afrika Bambaataa, but you can make the argument in the case that there is a strong connection between the writings of NAMBLA and this guy named Hakim Bey and the Zulu Nation. Now, the Zulu Nation, they have, and when I say Zulu Nation, I don't mean all of them, but Afrika Bambaataa in particular, he's a student of somebody named Malachi York. I'm not sure if you know who he is.
I've heard the name.
But he's gone by many names. He used to be Imam Isa in Brooklyn, New York, back in the 80s. And so he moved down to Georgia and became Malachi Z. York. Well, Malachi Z. York is in prison right now for umpteen years for not per se messing with children, but things having to do with transporting children for sexual use across state lines and that kind of thing.
Well, was that the group in Georgia that they built a bunch of pyramids down there?
Exactly.
Okay,
you got it. Now, the pyramids, you get said it.
It's a shame that I know this kind of stuff, but okay.
You got
Malachi York. Okay, how's he fit in syllabus now?
Right. They're Kemetic Moors, and they go back to the Moorish science. They also go back to Egypt. Now, Afrika Bambaataa is a student of that man who went to prison for messing with these children. There's your connection to the Moorish Science Temple, the Kemetic, and bridging all the way back to NAMBLA's Peter, whatever his name is, a.k.a. Hakim Bey. And I just pulled the information up and did blogs on it simply to show this guy whose name is Poppy that if you want to talk about NAMBLA, let me show them the connection to the man who you once called your father, Afrika Bambaataa. Basically, I was trying to back him down out of the conversation regarding homosexuality leading to pedophilia. And I used his own argument about NAMBLA to show that, wait a minute, NAMBLA is closer to your circle than the homosexuals, the so-called gay agenda. They're closer to the Zulu Nation circle. And I proved it. And I wrote 2 or 3 blogs, with the evidence and the research behind it to show that there is a bridge, there is a link between NAMBLA and the Zulu Nation. So you should stop talking about NAMBLA. And after I did that, he basically stopped talking about NAMBLA because it did not make his case look good.
So, and that's just a coincidence that both the NAMBLA guy and the Zulu Nation guy both use the name Hakim Bey.
Absolutely.
Different guys.
The black Hakim Bey is actually a high-ranking Moorish Science Temple guy. He's not really he's a Zulu Nation guy. He's a Moorish Science Temple minister or leader. but they do have the same name. And the other question is that even the white Hakim Bey, he lived in New York too, as the black one. So it gets confusing. But and when I first heard about it on your show,
Okay.
I guess was talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Then he's the one that started that whole story. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, sorry, folks. Make a correction then. We want to correct the record there. I forget who the guest was.
I was hoping he was correct, but when I began to do the research and actually saw the photos of both folks, I said, "Oh, that guy, he mistaken this guy with this guy." So I kind of corrected it, but he was on to something.
Okay. Well, it is a similar name, so we'll give him that much. Okay, let's take a little commercial break, and we'll be back with more of Khalil Amani right after these messages.
And now a word from our sponsors.
People are waking up. They're standing up to those pushing pesticides and GMOs as safe alternatives for a starving world. What a bunch of crap! I tell you, I'd rather eat dirt. So I drink Life Change Tea. It's an herbal drink, cleansing my body of toxic sludge and nasty chemicals, and of course, ridding the intruders that are hidden in my so-called food. And by the way, Life Change Tea is non-GMO and organic. No fillers, no yuck. Just a great defense against you-know-what. May the supplement force awaken you. Don't fall to the dark side. Oh, sorry. I went to the movies last night. Anyway, enough said. How do you get that herbal drink and change your life? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. You will awaken. You will get stronger, and you might even lose a bit of weight. So awaken to Life Change Tea and the many one-of-a-kind supplements at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. May the supplement force be with you.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subhash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubhashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also AwakeRadio.us. You can have your ad played here at OppermanReport.com every Friday night, 5 p.m., and Saturday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Friday nights, too, we do a live portion for 1 hour that I just do a live monologue. The ads are very, very inexpensive, and they're also played in the Opperman Report member section. In the member section, you can find all kinds of exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. It's as cheap as $6 a month, $20 a quarter, or $75 for a year. If you contact me directly at oppermanreport@gmail.com, I'll set you up with a little special deal there where you get a discount if you PayPal me directly, and you even get a copy of my book. I want to thank Sean Duff from strawmanmusic.com. He's an excellent musician. And I also want to thank William Ramsey, who helps us produce the show and book guests. You can find William Ramsey, who's an excellent author, at William Ramsey Investigates on YouTube.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. We're here with Khalil Amani, and we're talking about the whole controversy surrounding Afrika Bambaataa and date rape and child molestation, all kind of. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, what is the official reason he stepped down from the Zulu Nation? Is it in response to this, or they came up with another reason?
So Afrika Bambaataa has never publicly acknowledged that the incident from the stabbing or even having anything to do with teenage boys. He did a local news station in New York City where he denied all allegations of child molestation or being gay. He denied all of that. But then the Zulu Nation put out a video on YouTube. Ahmed Henderson, who became supposedly the new head of the nation, and probably 6 or 7 other people surrounding him who were top officials. And they basically put out a proclamation saying that Afrika Bambaataa is no longer the head of the Zulu Nation. He will be stepping down. We cannot support him, and they did not say that he was guilty in their eyes, but they said that there was enough evidence to suggest that something's going on, and that he needs to remove himself from the leadership. And that's basically the stance. So Afrika Bambaataa has basically been incognito since that time. He's recently appeared in videos in Brazil. That he has a strong following in Brazil. Even though there's allegations that in past times he had some dealings with the law down in Brazil for messing with young boys. That's been put out there several times. But I know that the age of consent in Brazil, I believe, is 14.
Yeah, I was just Googling it right now, just as you were saying about that, because I believe it's like 14 down there too.
Yeah, it's like 14, so he can legally, have relationships with 14, 15, 16-year-old boys, and that's just what it is. And like I said, at this current time, he's basically been, blackballed by the so-called conscious community in America, and he has, as far as we know, he hasn't done any shows in America since 2013 or 14. So,
yeah, the age of consent in Brazil is 14 years old.
14.
Yeah. Now, and also too, if he wanted to clear his name, he could release his medical records, right?
Absolutely. There's something called HIPAA. Myself being in the medical field, I kind of know a little about this subject here. HIPAA is the something Affordability Care Act. Basically, it's a bill that was put out in 2007 or so, basically to protect patients' confidentiality. Now, as I wrote after the incident, basically saying he could clear this up really easy by showing us his medical records on April 1st, 2013. If he truly was just in there for heart palpitations, as he said in the allhiphop.com article, he could clear it up. He could clear it up by going bare-chested with the newspaper of the current date next to himself and showing that there's no marks on my body. He could easily clear it up. But instead of doing any of those things, they got the Minister of Information, whatever his name is, and they put out a false narrative that he was not stabbed, that he was in the hospital for heart palpitations. And then they brought my name up, saying that I was this blogger who was out to try to just mess his name up because of a connection with Rick Ross. It was really weird how they fixed it all up and brought my name into it. But that's basically what they did. But then later on down the line,
what's the Rick Ross connection?
Excuse me?
The Rick Ross, how does he fit into this?
Well, Rick Ross fits into it because 2 weeks before I put that article out there, so we're talking about maybe March 15th or so of 2013, I had written an article for allhiphop.com because at that time, Rick Ross was in the middle of a scandal himself because he had that song out called Papa Molly. I'm not sure if you heard it, where he said in this song that he would give a chick a Molly, and a Molly basically makes you incapacitated, supposedly, and then you can have your way with the woman. So in his lyric, he said, I gave her a Molly, and she didn't even know it. And I enjoyed that, and she didn't even know it. Basically saying, I gave her drugs, I date raped her, and she didn't even know it. So I wrote an article, and don't get me wrong, I'm from Miami. Rick Ross is from Miami. I'm from the specific part of Miami called Carroll City. Rick Ross is from Carroll City. I graduated from Carroll City High School. Rick Ross graduated from Carroll City High School. So there's a big connection between him and me. And so they took that article and said that I was trying to get back at the Zulu Nation to take the pressure off of. It was really weird to take the pressure off of Rick Ross, even though I'm the one who got on Rick Ross's case. Now Rick Ross is the homie, like we have a lot of connection, but I still went at him for saying that he date raped a woman, and I think he lost his Reebok deal over that line. And the thing about it, the song wasn't even his. The song was another rapper's song. He just put a verse on it, and he put the wrong verse on it. And he lost his Reebok deal behind it.
Well, he also stole Freeway Rick Ross's name. You know what I mean?
No, I don't mean Freeway Rick Ross.
I know, yeah, because I had Freeway on the show, man. I like him.
Okay, yeah, I like him. I've met him myself.
Oh, really?
We've had drinks, chopped it up, the whole nine. I like the guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Rick Ross from Miami, the rapper.
Oh, the other one. Okay.
not Freeway Rick Ross.
I like Freeway. I'm on the Freeway team on this one. I'm on Team Freeway. Okay. So now, what's going on now today? How is all this stuff resolved? Besides this kind of YouTube war and fighting going on behind all these DJs and stuff, what's going on?
Well, for me, I was heavy in the middle of the battle too. Like I said, I was dragged in it by YouTuber Israel Doctrine, and I am still Team Israel Doctrine, but I had to back myself out of it because it was really consuming my time. I'd wake up in the morning and there would be the people that were my supposed enemies. They were putting video after video of me up, basically chopping up my story, because what I ended up doing, I ended up going on the biggest black consciousness platform on YouTube, which is called Sodnetta TV. And he wanted to interview me about my whole government informant stuff. And so I knew I was going into a landmine of people who did not respect me or respect my actions. But I did it anyway because I thought it'd be fun to do. And so I did that. And from that interview, I got a lot of backlash, of course. And people began to chop up my statements and my words and make funny videos and stuff about me. And they'd go to my Facebook page and take some of my pictures and there's a picture of me when I was a young 25-year-old man, and I was a stripper and I had a stripper costume on, and they would just put my life out there, which is all out there anyway. It's a matter of it's out there.
Yeah.
So for me, I backed out of it. I backed away from it because it just got too much, and I do have a great life, and I don't need and there seem to be some subtle threats coming my way. Now, like I told several YouTubers, I'm not worried about that. I've dealt with a far, far worse enemy than some YouTubers. Like, I dealt with real, killers that beheaded people in the street. And so this internet banter between me and several other YouTubers is child's play. So I'm not worried about it. And I've said this, and I still say it, that I do have those people, as they call them, which would be the government, on speed dial. If I need to call and I feel my life is threatened, I know who to reach out to say, hey, this is a problem. I need you to check on it, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. I still reserve the right to use that card if I have to. But instead of doing that, I said, let me pull back out of the conscious community banter and just be on the sidelines. But I'm still, if you go to my YouTube page, I have tons of stuff that I've said, and I stand on all of it, and that's just what it is. But it still goes on. Bambaataa he's still being dragged through the mud by those of us who know that he is a criminal and he needs to be brought to justice.
And this guy Poppy today, he denies now Bambaataa did anything to him, or is he on the open now?
No, Poppy is fully invested that Afrika Bambaataa did molest him.
Okay. He claimed
for a while that he had something called Stockholm syndrome, which is when you basically fall in love with your molester.
Sure.
Or in war cases, you start loving the enemy. So for a while there, he didn't want nothing to happen to Bambaataa. All he wanted Bambaataa to do was to admit his wrongs and get some counseling. He even said he'd go to counseling with him. But now it's gotten to the point where Poppy does want to see some justice come to him, or does want to see him some street justice. But Poppy, like as we saw, he went on and called the police about the little video. But people questioned him, like, why won't you call the police or get a federal investigation? And I've actually made videos instructing him that the best thing he could do, because the Zulu Nation is still strong. He has so many enemies. He has the Zulu Nation to worry about. He has the Nation of Islam to worry about, because he talks real crazy and reckless about Minister Farrakhan. He still has his own street beefs. He has lots of folks he has to worry about. I told him in one of my videos, the best thing you could do is go to the FBI, cooperate, join it, and hopefully they'll let you go into the Federal Witness Protection Program and uproot your family out of Bronx and get out of there. And then tell everything you know about Bambaataa and see if you can bring him to justice. The problem is we believe that he may have bloody hands himself. That's why he won't cooperate. That and the fact that he still claims the title of a street dude. So he doesn't want to really get messy with the government because of what may or may not have happened with that boy back in 2013, and maybe even other crimes. We don't know, because he openly admits that he was charged with disposing of that teenager, that young man, back in 2013. And
right,
to this
right.
date,
if you're going to give an order like that, you're not going to give it to a guy that's never done it before.
Right, and I've made that point too. I said, why would Afrika Bambaataa charge someone with killing someone who's never done dirt before?
Right.
Usually, there's somebody who's trusted. He's an inner circle. He's someone who's already shown that he's to be trusted because he's done work, as they call it in the street. He's killed or either hurt somebody else. So, yeah. And to this date, we haven't got a definitive answer from Poppy as to, did you touch him or not? It's like he danced around it. Like, he actually makes jokes of the fact that Israel Doctrine started the movement called What Happened to That Boy, 2013. And it's based off of a rap song, goes, What Happened to That Boy? It's a song by a rap group. So he used that little phrase to talk about this situation. And so we don't know what happened to that boy. It's, April 1st this year will be 5 years that we haven't heard from the Spanish kid. He may be alive, he may not be.
Now, what about with all the government surveillance and the FBI surveillance against activists, and Black Power movements and stuff like that? They've never contacted him and said, "Hey, want you to come in and talk." Does he talk about that? Does he say anything like that?
Well, Poppy has never said that the government's contacted him, but we do know there's something called a BIE, Black Identity Extremist thing going on with the FBI that are watching these extremist groups, these separatist organizations. The Black Hebrew Israelites are on the top of the list. We do know that, but Poppy has never said that he's cooperated or anyone's ever come to him, and I don't think he would even put that out there if it was, because the problem with Poppy and other victims of child molestation, like, say, Ronald Savage, is that Ronald Savage was not a street dude. Ronald Savage was a civilian like myself who was molested. No one's questioning his story and nothing like that. The problem with Poppy is that he's a street dude and he's trying to deal with child molestation, but still he's trying to do it through street mentality, like with a street mentality. Like he doesn't want to do what's right. And the right thing is to go and cooperate and bring Bambaataa to justice. But he doesn't want to do that because he has to deal with his people in the street calling him a snitch and those kinds of things.
Now, what about yourself? You grew up in this cult with the Yahweh Ben Yahweh. You were attracted into that. You were drawn into that. And now here you are drawn into this other situation with, again, sort of a Zulu type cult, and this controversy and stuff like that. What motivates you to get, what do you think is motivating you to get caught up in these kind of big controversies and cult type situations?
It's crazy. It's an ironic situation. It's like I left the cult. I did what I had to do 35 years ago. That part of my life, that chapter of my life was closed, and I would never think I'd be dealing with something like this. But I'm a writer, and then lo and behold, I start advocating for gay rappers. Lo and behold, the biggest story in hip hop regarding Afrika Bambaataa first falls into the lap of the dude who reps for gay rappers. Now, what am I supposed to do with that? I did not go out seeking this stuff. I was a lowly blogger on MySpace writing about religion and rap music and just doing my thing. And then this big story falls into my lap. I blame DJ K-Slade. No, I'm just joking. I was minding my own business. And then after that, after I wrote the story in 2013, I basically was done with it until 3-4 months ago. And then this YouTuber, Israel Doctrine, digs my name up out of the graveyard of internet sites and says, "Dude, you're the first guy to talk about it." I said, "Yeah, I was." And next thing you know, I'm interviewing on his show. And then lo and behold, this guy, Poppy, who's the most staunch advocate against Bambaataa, decides to not just make it a child molestation issue, not just makes it a Bambaataa issue, but he makes it a gay issue. Now I got to talk to you. Now you got to talk to me now, because I've been doing this for 7 years prior to you, longer than 7 years, 10 years prior to you coming out with your story. Now you're stepping on my toes. Now you're in my lane. Oh, you say gayness leads to pedophilia? Well, show us. And he's yet to show us any documentation to that subject. And I just continued to just basically, and I would always say in every one of my blogs, I'm not coming at you for being a victim of child molestation. I believe you were a victim of Bambaataa's child molestation. I believe that. But stop trying to, as I say, stop trying to molest 20% of the world's population by including homosexuality in the pedophilia/bestiality sexual bandwagon. Stop doing it. Stick to child molestation. Stop saying gay people have something to do with it. The guy that molested you just happened to be a man. But there are straight men that molest teenage girls, little children. It has nothing to do with the gender. It has to do with the action. And so that's my problem. That's my beef with Poppy. Not that I don't believe that he was molested. But you can't go around including everybody in your bag because you don't like gays. And the ironic thing is, he has a gay son. He has a transgender son/daughter. How ironic is that?
Let me ask you a question.
They're not speaking.
Oh, really? Now, let me ask you a question. Now, this child pornography that was mailed to him and was also mailed to Israel Doctrine. Now, is there an investigation going into that, to who sent it, and any suspects in who sent that?
I heard some banter saying that they caught the guy, and that the video was from somewhere out of the country, that it wasn't even an American person, it was somebody. But I think they've caught the guy that actually did it. But I haven't seen any news reports confirming that. But and I also heard that the video was very old too.
How was it sent?
Already
via email?
Yeah, that the incident whenever it happened, it wasn't recent. It was something that happened years ago or something. So
and
it happened to.
How was it sent then? By email?
Yes, email. I'm surprised that I didn't get it.
Yeah. Well, you might have just deleted it, just thought it was spam,
It could have gone to spam. I got a lot of spam.
Yeah, right. And Israel Doctrine, he's not in contact with the police investigating the case because he would be a witness and stuff like that. He doesn't know what's going on with it?
He talked to his local police. He did a video of him talking to the local police. I don't know if he's had any conversation after that, but he does have a video showing that because they came to his house, as you said. They did come to his house, but I don't know if he is cooperating. Like I said, I've stepped back. Me and Israel Doctrine, we did a lot of communicating, but I've even stepped back from him, not because I have a problem with him. I had to step back from the whole.
Yeah, I know. It's draining.
Thing.
Yeah, the trolls, the online trolls and stuff like that. And they came around here too, but I pretty much just ignored it all. So now what are you working on next? What's the next stage of your life for Khalil Amani?
Well, I'm doing, there's actually a documentary coming out about this thing. Yeah, it's called Trapped in the Culture. But the word trapped is highlighted where you see rap, and the word culture, you see it highlighted where you see the word cult. It's pretty clever how they laid out the graphic of the title. So you see rap and you see cult. And so they know the people that are running this I think it's a Netflix video that's coming out. They know my involvement. They know he's the first guy to actually write about it. So they are about to interview me for that. There's actually 2 trailers out right now on this particular thing, and they're talking to. I've seen the trailers. Bambaataa's in it. Poppy's already been interviewed. Ronald Savage, who was really the official first victim that come out, he's in it. Star, the guy who really blew the story up, he's in the trailer. And TC Islam, who was murdered down in Atlanta 2 weeks after he gave his interview for this documentary, he was murdered. So he's in the video, and they're coming to see me now. So that's looming on the horizon. Other than that, I'm just writing, working hard, trying to take care of my grandchildren, my children, my wife, and living good.
And the TC Islam, what was his role in all of this, and how was he murdered?
TC Islam was I won't say high ranking. He was real close to Bambaataa. He's been around since the beginning. He had his own movement within the Zulu Nation and within hip hop, dance music. He finally came out. He did a video where he came out against Afrika Bambaataa because he was intimately close to Afrika Bambaataa. He knew. And so after it all came out, he said he basically couldn't stand by Bambaataa no more now that the cat was out of the bag. And he fled for his life. He left New York and was in Atlanta and was killed on the street 2 weeks after he did his interview. Now, it's unclear as to did the people who killed him have anything to do with Zulu Nation or Bambaataa, any of that. Right as it stands right now, it looked like it might have been just a drug deal gone bad. I think they're going to court now for it. So you could say that it has something to do with it, but it may not. It just might be some stupid stuff that happened. So we don't know yet.
Yeah, there's always coincidences. Now, any other former Zulu Nation people left the group because of these allegations and can confirm what these allegations are?
Oh, yeah, there are quite a few. Once this thing hit the fan, Afrika Bambaataa's main bodyguard, his last name was Sharif or something like that, he did a video. He was on Star. He did 2 videos, actually. He came out on Star and said that he knew things were going on, and he knew that Afrika Bambaataa was gay, and he knew that he was. He retold a couple of incidents of things that happened with young boys. Well, he tried to retract it and say he didn't really see it, but he knew it. But he was Afrika Bambaataa's bodyguard for many years, and he went against Bambaataa. And there have been many others that have come out. Others who have been molested that have come out, and there's some of their videos haven't even put out yet. I don't know why, but they're. According to Star, he interviewed several others that he didn't put the videos out. But there have been other officials and people that were in the Zulu Nation that have just can't come out. Even the Zulu Nation member that contacted me, he said that his father was one of the forming members of the Zulu Nation and was a security member. And he hit me up because he related to me some of the stories that his father would tell him about Bambaataa and gay and young men. And he basically confirmed the stabbing incident to me right after Case Lee told me about it. So there are a lot of folks that are coming out. But I would say this much: as big as this story is, hip hop mainstream is curiously quiet about this story, and that's one of the big issues that Poppy has with like mainstream rappers who are trying to be like they're talking about this whole Troy Ave situation. Is he going to be a snitch? Is he going to go on the stand and testify against this other YouTuber? And would that make him a snitch? But a lot of people are asking, why aren't mainstream rappers and folk in the media talking more about this Bambaataa thing? It's a curious silence surrounding it. So no one wants to really talk about it. Yeah, they're afraid for even talking about it.
And what do you make? You hear these stories about like Jay-Z being in the Illuminati and in order to get a record deal, you have to have sex with these guys and stuff. You hear anything about that kind of stuff?
I've heard it and read all of it.
Yeah.
I don't really believe so much that stuff. I believe that people like Jay-Z, they get to where they get because of their hard work and their ethic. I don't believe for a minute that, Jay-Z decides he wants to have sex with a man to get. I just don't believe it. I mean that all the evidence is out there is just people putting together YouTube videos, and that's just not good enough for me. Right. We need some empirical data, So I just, anybody can put the video together and say, see, and even when you see P. Diddy and somebody hugged up, and there's a picture of P. Diddy and Rick Ross, and their lips are so close together, it looks like they're about to kiss, but it's a still. You can't judge that's what they're going to do. When you're taking pictures, some pictures will look different. If you see you'd have to see the video and not the picture to say were they kissing or not. And so they get these still shots of people who just seem to be real close to one another, and they say, see, P. Diddy and Rick Ross about to kiss. No. So a lot of gossip in the rap community. That's how I said. There's a lot of gossip and trolling and a flame warring back and forth. It's a yes. And as gay hip hop's straight advisor and straight advocate, I'm elated to know that gayness has been at the foundation. I'm just sad that it had to be in the form of pedophilia. Yeah, and date rape. Yeah. I've been talking about this for years before Bambaataa. Like, we need to recognize, that there are gay people within hip hop, and that gay people should have a voice. I've been advocating for it, and then this comes out. Good Lord.
Well, Khalil, thank you so much, man. It's another great show. Tell the audience where they can get a hold of you if they want to find you. Not to come kill you, but if they want to talk to you politely and interact with you.
Yeah, don't come find me, no. Yeah, you can go to my website is the Khalil Amani Reader. That's KHALIL Amani AMANI Khalil Amani Reader. Or you can just Google my name and all kinds of great stuff will come up. From videos of me with my grandkids to me talking about Bambaataa to talking about the cult to whatever's been going on in my life, I like to share. And as a writer, I share my life. It's an open book. So go to Khalil Amani Reader and you can read my latest blogs whenever I put one out.
Khalil, thank you so much, man. It's always a lot of fun. And if anything comes up in the future that you need to promote or something, or you're in trouble, whatever, you give me a call right away. We'll put you right on the air.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, folks. Ronnie here from Life Change Tea. There's a lot of hubbub about the ramifications of GMOs. First of all, what are GMOs? Genetically modified organisms. Yee! Man-made organisms entering our body, changing and damaging us from the inside out. What's our defense? First of all, not eating them. Second, cleansing from them when we do eat them. Thank God for Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea cleanses from toxins, heavy metals, and helps flush GMOs out of your body. Our unique blend of herbs help cleanse you from the inside out, helping you feel refreshed and clean of yee. We also carry unique one-of-a-kind supplements. So order online at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Rid yourself of the yee that contaminates your food and water. Go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Get the tea, your best defense.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subhash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubhashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also AwakeRadio.us. Welcome to our new sponsor. You can have your ad played here at OppermanReport.com every Friday night, 5 p.m., and Saturday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Friday nights, too, we do a live portion for 1 hour that I just do a live monologue. The ads are very, very inexpensive, and they're also played in the Opperman Report member section. In the member section, you can find all kinds of exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. It's as cheap as $6 a month, $20 a quarter, or $75 for a year. If you contact me directly at oppermanreport@gmail.com, I'll set you up with a little special deal there where you get a discount if you PayPal me directly, and you can get a copy of my book. I want to thank Sean Duff from strawmanmusic.com. He's an excellent musician. And I also want to thank William Ramsey, who helps us produce the show and book guests. You can find William Ramsey, who's an excellent author, at William Ramsey Investigates on YouTube.
Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and we're joined by Ronnie McMullen from getthetea.com. You can also find him at lifechangetea.com. Ronnie, are you there?
I am. How you doing, Ed?
Hey, great, man. Thank you so much. I think I'm your new best friend, okay? I got to tell you, because I tried this tea yesterday morning, like at 3 a.m. I get up really early in the morning, 3 a.m., and I've been loving it ever since. But before we get to all of that, to getthetea.com, who is Ronnie McMullen?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, tough one, right?
I fly off of buildings at night, dressed in black. No, I'm just kidding. CEO of getthetea.com, and basically have formulated this tea and done formulations for different supplements. And if people go to the website, they can see what's going on. But, I started this company not because, oh boy, that's what I want to do is supplements. I actually started this company because I got sick. And when I got sick, there was a lot wrong. I just won't go into that depth, but there was a lot wrong. And I was a talk show host at the time, and I've had this listener that said, "Hey, you need to try this tea." So I got with this doctor, and he formulated a tea. And since then, I have formulated a tea, formulated some supplements, and put everything, and basically got my health kind of up to par. Not totally over the hump yet, but probably maybe 70, 80% of what I had and what was going on is gone. And just by changing diet, changing how I supplement, learning more about water, learning more about our air, learning more about what's going on in our environment, because the environment changes everything, and even down to the emotional basis, because when we are emotional beings, that can change our health by a lot. A lot of people have a disease, and they think it's based on just their body, and it's really based on a lot of emotional too. So just really learning all the facets of the body and how to achieve wellness. So that's been kind of my goal now, and been doing that for, I think I'm running on 11 years.
Okay, really? Okay. Now, what kind of radio show did you do?
Well, I did. I started off, I had a religious show.
Okay.
I'm pretty intuitive, and so it was called the Prophetic Watch. And then I learned a lot about extraterrestrials and UFOs and the kind of the they and them agenda, the Illuminati, all this. And so I ended up kind of spawning off of that, ended up doing a UFO show called UFO Encounters Live. And that ended up being syndicated. And then my last show was just called the Ronnie McMullen Show, where I didn't go into the religion. I didn't go into UFOs. I kind of just went into good, topics, and still talking about what's going on in the world and waking people up and so on and so forth. And that did really well. And then I retired about 2 years ago. I retired, but I'm still I'm thinking about getting back into radio just a little bit. And so, it gets in your blood. You can't, if you're a talker, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you're a talker, you can't get out of it.
Yeah, I get to meet the most interesting people in the whole world, but it's squeezing all that into the schedule, and having them come up. I come 5 hours of radio a week, plus the members section. And then that becomes such a grind, but you're right. It's such a blessing. You get to meet the most fascinating people on the face of the earth and get to know them off the air too. You get to know these people and you stay in contact with them.
Yes, correct. Yeah, correct. And you depending on what show you are or how you are or what you're looking for, it's like an incredible college course, and it never ends, because you're always bonding with people, or, and I had people on the show I didn't agree with, but I still learned off of them. So it was, very enlightening.
Yeah, I was even saying that if I read a book, next book I write will be the more I learn, the less I know. Because the more people I talk to involved in these things, involved in Watergate firsthand, involved in the JFK assassination, you realize the less you really know about these complicated topics in history. So thank God for the show. Thank you, listeners. I love you very much. Okay. Now, you contacted me about the tea, right? And I said, okay, fine. You want to sponsor the show? Yeah, well, I'll put you on, no problem. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk money, right? Right away. But you said, no, Ed, I want to send you the tea first and let you try the tea. Right. So, and then you called me up and you said, okay, what kind of tea do I want? And I didn't know what I wanted. And I told you, I think the only problem I was having at the time, I told you about, I had a little acid reflux.
Yeah.
So you recommended this Life Change tea. And on the package, it says super strength, lose weight, maintain perfect health, cleanse your body from intruders, reduce constipation, and maintain great digestion. Okay. Now, when you get the tea, you don't make it like a regular tea, it's not like a tea bag you just dunk in a cup, right?
No, when you get the package of tea, I mean, there's 8 bags of tea in there. And a lot of people go, I spent $30-something on tea and I got 8 bags, and what a rip. And boy, you guys are out, snake oil salesmen, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. I understand. But that 8 bags, if you read the directions, and we put directions on the bag, and then we also put another flyer with that product, that 8 bags will make you 4 gallons, which will last you 1 month. So actually what you're paying for is a 1 month supply of tea, which is about 2 8-ounce glasses a day. With that, you brew it, you let it sit, you let it simmer, not simmer, but you let it steep, and you add your water to it, and you put it in your fridge, and you drink it cold. Now, we have had people that, and this is kind of funny, maybe cute, maybe not, but we have had people, they don't even read the directions.
Yeah.
They get the 8 tea bags, and they put 1 tea bag in a little, cup of water, and then they drink it. And, you do that, you will be in the bathroom pretty quick.
Oh, really?
Because it's very strong potion. So that's been, that's kind of funny.
Okay, no, yeah, which is what I would have done myself if I think you told me in advance to read the instructions. But we read the instructions. My daughter did it, and one thing I was worried about too is because I was thinking, oh boy, if I'm going to steep this tea bag overnight, by the time I drink it, it's going to taste like crap. It's going to be bitter. Like if you had a Lipton's tea bag, it would taste disgusting if you let it steep all night long. So I made the tea. We put it in a big gallon jug. And yesterday morning, 3:00 in the morning, I get up. I was a little hungover, I'll admit it. And I took a couple of sips of this tea, man. And I felt it from the first couple of sips. I could feel that there's something different about this stuff. And I really, really enjoyed it. And also too, I normally take these supplements, like testosterone, supplement types, over the counter stuff. And they were upsetting my stomach. And when I took them with the tea, I didn't have that at all, and I'm really, really enjoying the tea.
Well, the tea's not bitter. The tea tastes really good, and people kind of blown away with that because they go, okay, if it tastes good, then it's not doing something. And I can put ingredients in there to make it really taste bad, but it's gonna, it's really kind of futile not to do that. So basically, the tea, tastes really well, and it's a mild detox, not something where, and if you rush to the bathroom, then it means that, I just say, well, that means you're jacked up and you really need this tea. But most of the time, it's kind of a mild, gentle detox, and it's always, sometimes we wash our car. Okay, we go outside, we wash our car, and we go, dang, that looks good. I like the way that looks. And then we drive it a week, and it looks like crap. Now, what do? Do you wash it again, or do you just let it go for a year? And see, a lot of people, they do that with their body. They're like, okay, I'm going to do it. They do a cleanse, and then they figure that's going to last them a year, or last 6 months, or last them 2 years, or whatever they do. We're getting bombarded by intruders, by chemicals and toxins and, garbage, heavy metals, and we can go on and on and on. We're being bombarded like that every day. So why would you not want to be cleansing every day? And this is set up for that you can cleanse every day. And when you cleanse yourself of intruders, then you're not going to get the benefits of having those intruders. And when you have intruders in your body, they jack you up and they give you what is called dis-ease.
Now, I'll tell you a couple other things too. Now, I drank the tea yesterday. I had at least one glass. I know that for a fact. I might have had a little bit more. I think last night I heated up a cup too. Is it okay to heat it up?
Yeah, you can. It's just going to be stronger.
Okay. Yeah, well, I warmed it up in the microwave, and I had a heated up cup too. But then today, when I drank it, even before I took a sip, just the smell of the glass was pleasant to my mind and my body. Reminded me of how much I enjoyed it yesterday. I'm very sensitive to this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm very, very sensitive to any kind of chemicals or any kind of so I notice stuff right away if something enters my body. I know if it's going to make me feel good or make me feel bad. I'm very tuned into this kind of stuff. Can you drink too much of this in one day?
Well, and I think, you can drink, I drink sometimes 20 ounces a day. I mean, you can't really drink too much, but in a way you can, because then you're going to be living in the bathroom. So, but what's interesting about this tea is, it tastes really good, and people, sometimes because it tastes good, they go, oh, this can't possibly be working because it tastes good. And, no, you can have it taste good and you can have it working. And, the big thing that I look at is, with it tasting good, going into your body, cleansing your body, this is a beautiful thing. This is, I drink it every single day. And with that, I keep the intruders at bay. And, this is going to help your body in so many ways. We get so many emails with people having all kinds of different issues, and the different issues, they're like, oh, help me with this and help me with that and help me with this. And I think to myself, wow, this thing is mind blowing. So, that's kind of, to me, that's very exciting to get the emails of how it's helped them and made them better.
Now, you're my age. We talked off the air. You're 55 as well. Now, you're drinking the same one that you sent me, the Life Change tea?
Yes, super tea, yes.
Because when you go on the website, getthetea.com, there's a million different kinds of tea on it. Or you called it yesterday herbal drinks. It's really not teas. They're herbal drinks.
Yeah, it's an herbal drink. It's 8 to 10 different herbs that are inside of it, and that's why people go, I'm not paying that kind of money for green tea. And it's like, well, no, I understand that. I'm going to the store and I'm going to get my tea for $5, $7, whatever it is, and I'm going to drink. Well, I have nothing against green tea at all. Green tea is good for you. A lot of green tea is going to have caffeine. We have a little bit of green tea, and it's so little that basically it registers as zero caffeinate. There's no caffeine in my tea. It doesn't even register. So basically, I have an herbal drink, and I always look at it this way. It's like a Native American. You go to the bottom of the hill, and then okay, we're going to climb up this mountain. You climb up the mountain, and then you make this herbal tea, and you drink it, and you get clarity. And I see it like that sometimes. It makes it kind of fun. Is it truly that? I don't know. But it sounds good in a story.
Okay. Now, the audience knows that because I do this thing called a Daniel fast where I quit drinking coffee and I quit drinking alcohol for 21 days, but I've extended it up to 6 months, and I do it all the time. And people are always saying, you're still on a fast, and they're really interested in the Daniel fast that I do. So after this last time getting off the fast, I don't have a coffee pot in the house because I have a problem with coffee. I drink coffee in the morning, then I start drinking coffee all day long, and I start adding energy drinks, and it just makes you more tired and out of shape. Then I start getting lazy. I don't work out. So right now I go out to the coffee shop. I get 1 cup of coffee every day. But yesterday when I drank the tea, the Life Change tea, okay, I had no desire to run out and get coffee whatsoever. Now, is this something, what about drinking coffee on top of this? Is that going to cause me problems? Because I do enjoy going to a coffee shop.
Let me tell you about the tea. And I don't even know how it does this, but it's kind of like, I still have not figured out how a plant can grow from a rock, but it does. So this tea is kind of interesting because it goes in your body, these herbs mixed and kind of doing their synergy. They go in your body and they get rid of things that shouldn't be there. I call them intruders. But the opposite side of this is they leave things that should be there. So coffee is, I think the jury's out on this. Coffee can, they say, it's really bad for you. And caffeine's definitely bad for you. But the coffee itself is not necessarily bad for you. So, is the tea going to see the coffee as an intruder? Probably not. And so it's, basically what I'm saying is you can do well. Now, let's say you took a pharmaceutical and you had some medicine that you needed to take. You want to take that tea between 2 to 4 hours away from when you take your medicine, your pharmaceutical. And here's why, because most pharmaceuticals are synthetic, so they're man-made, so they're not herbal, and the tea sees that as an intruder. So those herbs, not really the tea, but the herbs itself see that as an intruder, and they want to throw that out of your body. So if you're on some kind of medication that's very vital, you don't want that medicine being, thrown out of your body. So you want to be 4 hours away from the tea. Now, if you're taking a supplement, and you're taking an all-natural supplement, then it's, again, a different ballgame. Tea sees that as not an intruder, so you can take your supplements with the tea, and that's kind of a cool thing.
Okay.
Well, there's all kinds of good stuff. I can't tell you. No, just kidding. There's persimmon leaves, there's marble leaves, there's holy thistle, there's marshmallow leaves, blessed thistle, papaya enzyme, ginger root, sarsaparilla leaves. Am I boring anybody yet? And then green and white tea leaves. So it's kind of a synergy thing. And again, this is my concoction at the top of the hill. We make it and get enlightened. No, I'm just kidding. But basically, it is a brew. You make this brew and you add water to it, put it in your fridge, and it will do its job. A lot of people go, that's no way. And, it does. And then I've had people call and they'll say, I've been on this tea 3 days and, it's not working. And I go, okay, well, everybody's different. Be patient. And they'll call maybe a day, 2 days later, and they'll go, okay, it works. It's good. And I've had other people, they drink, one drink and they're like, holy cow, this is working. So Everybody is different. And it also depends on your digestive tract. It depends on, your diet. I mean, there's all these factors that go in. But no matter what, the herbs work. End of story.
Oh, and all the ingredients are organic, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, now maybe that's it. Okay, because I tell you, it didn't increase my bowel movements or my urination or anything like that. Okay, but I could feel energy from it. I could feel wellness from it. I'm being honest with you. But maybe it's because I'm vegan and I don't put any kind of crap into my body except for alcohol. I drink alcohol and coffee. That's a little ketchup. That's a little sugar in my ketchup. That's about it.
I have to say, Ed, you're cracking me up. It's like, I'm totally vegan and I breathe perfect oxygen, but I drink some turpentine every once in a while.
What, you think alcohol is really too bad?
It just depends on intake. I'm not against alcohol. I know a lot of people have alcohol. I mean, quite honestly, I do too. I'll have a beer once in a while, but hard alcohol can take its toll on your body, and lots of alcohol can take its toll on your body. But if you're just drinking, a beer once in a while or a glass of wine once in a while, totally, it's actually probably not a bad thing at all. Now, if you're diabetic, it can be a little different. But if you're just having a drink once in a while, I do not think there's any harm in it at all.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this. I think I have more debilitating effects on my body and my health by drinking coffee and sugar. I don't add any sugar to my diet whatsoever. Just a little sugar that's in the ketchup is pretty much, or in canned products. But otherwise, I don't eat any sugar. We haven't bought sugar here in a couple of years. And when I go on that Daniel fast and you cut out all the sugar, even in processed, like ketchup, you don't have the sugar in the ketchup. You really feel that withdrawal from the sugar, man. You got a headache for 3 days.
Oh yeah. Well, sugar's really, sugar's kind of got a bad rap, and sugar's really not that bad for you as long as it's pure and natural, and as long as you have it in low quantities. What's really bad, and of course you said you're vegan, so you understand this. And again, I'm not saying this for anybody out there to beat you up and tell you that you need to do this. I'm just saying what I found is I've just lately gone vegan, and oh my God, we could talk an hour on that. But long and the short of it is, actually, there's a lot of studies and clinical trials that sugar is really not that bad if it's in moderation and if it's natural, organic cane sugar. But what the problem is, and number one problem in digestive tract, we always say the sugar, especially a diabetic, oh, it's just sugar. And of course, I've been taught that so big, oh, it's sugar. Actually, the number one thing that's really bad for the body is milk products. That's number one. Actually, excuse me, I just told a fib. It's actually not number one. It's number two. Number one is gluten, okay? Gluten from the wheat. That is number one. Number two is dairy products. Number three is meat products. And number four is egg products. So obviously, just taking vegetables, and then of course you could take it even further. You've got vegan cooked vegetables and grains and legumes and so on and so forth. And then there's people that believe that you should have it all raw, which you do. You're upping the scale by having raw vegetables versus cooked vegetables. But you talk about got to be on track. I tip my hat to the people who can just eat a raw vegetable diet. I'm like, you're wonderful. Wow. Because I don't know if I can pull that off. But I have to say, going vegan, I didn't think I could pull that off, and I am. So, and I'm watching things plummet. So if you have disease, vegan's the only way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't think I could pull it off either. But once you're in that mindset and you detox from all that crap, you can't even consider drinking milk or cheese or any of that stuff. It's just so disgusting. And I'm one of those vegans too. See, I don't like the imitation stuff where you go to a restaurant, they have like imitation spare ribs made out of tofu with some nonsense. I don't eat that stuff at all. I like to really go with it, man. Fruits, vegetables, and, and beans and stuff, legumes, all that kind of stuff. Really go with it, man. Potatoes.
I have to say, I'm not a tofu guy, and, especially before my whole plant-based diet, somebody say tofu, and I'd be like, tofu? No, yofu.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think so. But I have cooked it, and it's really not bad. It kind of tastes like eggs if you flavor it the way you want to go. So I've not been too opposed. And the big thing is, it's from beans, and it's a lot of protein. So that part's real good. But, everybody's diet's different. I mean, you go back in the Midwest, and it's meat and potatoes, back east, it's meat and potatoes. And if you go towards the west, it's more spice and live life and everything else. So I think we're all different. We got to follow what's in our heart. And I think when we tell somebody else how they need to be, I think that's probably not the good idea. People will find their way. It's built in them.
Yeah, right. Just because me and Ronnie are vegan doesn't mean you have to be vegan to drink the tea.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. I mean, I had a guy tell me, he says, vegan's not for, he wasn't taking it from a standpoint of I need to eat meat. He was taking a standpoint of his blood work and everything else. So he says, I need a little bit of meat. I don't eat a lot of it, but I eat a little bit of meat. And that's cool. I mean, I kind of wish I could, but I can't. At this point in my life, I can't, nor will I, because I'm out to see the benefits. And I know one thing, when you are eating plant food as a diet, then all of a sudden you take supplements, especially mine, because they're all organic, they're non-GMO, and no fillers. You take my supplements when you're doing a vegetable diet, they're like little superchargers, because I used to take my supplements eating a meat, dairy, egg diet, and they work, but they're just barely holding off disease. They're just barely, because they're working so hard. And all of a sudden you do a vegan diet or a plant-based diet. Oh my God. Then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're buddies. Yay. And your body has a great time. And all of a sudden these little pills are superchargers and they do great things, that they couldn't really fully perform before. It's like when you have a hot rod race car, you can tell I'm into cars, but you have a hot rod race car and you go down the street with all the stoplights, you can't open that up. But you get on a racetrack and rock and roll, baby, you can let that thing fly. And that's kind of the different thing with supplements. When it's bonded with a vegan or plant-based diet, oh my gosh, it's like, yeehaw!
Yeah, because you don't just sell tea. When you go to getthetea.com, there's a whole pull-down box on a site called categories, which basically are designed to aid you in these different areas, like cleanses, eye health, fat burner. There was one here too about immune support, stamina, and energy. Well, so give me an example, the stamina and energy one, because I can use more of that. What kind of ingredients would I find in there?
Well, we have so many different products that'd be a long list. But,
okay.
If you're looking for stamina and energy, I would tell you, you might want to be looking at eighth element, which has cordyceps in it. It's got mushrooms in it, dude. Really, they're very cool, but it's not psychedelic mushrooms. So there's a lot of effects. When you have intruders, and I have to be careful how I say things here. So when you have intruders in your body, it's very important to know that you need to be putting stuff in your body that doesn't like intruders, that gets rid of intruders. Otherwise, you're going to have disease, and you're going to have things like cancer. You're going to have things, high blood pressure. Inflammation is a killer. And what's interesting is when we're really inflamed from different foods we eat, and then we get stressed, it's like putting your head in a vice, and the next thing you know, you're in trouble. So anti-inflammatory products are wonderful for your body. And that's really where you're going to get your energy, is when all of a sudden your inflammation goes down. So you want to be fighting the intruders with everything that fights intruders. And, it's really an easy mechanism. It's just learning the mechanism.
So if I wanted to improve my health and improve my well-being, and I wanted to try the teas, which tea would you recommend I start with?
Either one of them is fine. The super tea is pretty powerful. We have one called Formula 13, and it's almost the same, but it's got pomegranate in it. So it's, it tastes really good. A lot of people, they want just a little bit of flavor. So I tell them the pomegranate's the way to go. But they'll all do the same thing. They're all about detox. They're all about cleansing your colon. And colonoscopies are no fun. So, if you're cleansing your colon, your organs are drawing off the nutrients that are going through your body, and life is good. That's the biggest thing. And also something that's free that you don't have to buy, blah, blah, blah. Drink water. Drink good water. Very, very important. I think 70-80% of us in the U.S. are dehydrated at all times. We don't drink enough water. Yes. And the biggest abuse in the corporate world is water. So we really need to be preying on the whole water thing, and under that is vital to our body, is drinking. And I could sit here and say, Ronnie, do you drink enough water? And I say, sometimes I don't. And it's terrible. Something so simple as having a glass, tipping it and putting it in your body, and yet we don't do it. And we think if we drink coffee that we're getting liquid. We're being hydrated. We're not. That's dehydrated. So you got to drink, I think it's like 2 to 3 glasses of water to equal 1 cup of coffee. So it dehydrates us, and our organs suffer when we dehydrate. So it's simple, free, easy thing. Drink a lot of water, and good water at that.
Yeah, if you've ever seen people at the 7-Eleven filling up that glass with the soda at the fountain there,
yeah.
There's so many spoonfuls of sugar in that thing.
Yeah, that doesn't count. And the energy drinks, that doesn't count. You're not being hydrated. Oh, I'm going to drink a Gatorade. You can drink a Gatorade till the cows come home. You're not becoming hydrated. So water is the key element. And there was actually a doctor that went off on water and said basically you can cure diseases with water. And I thought that was an interesting book.
We're running out of time. I got to have you back for a whole hour, okay? Because I could pick your brain for hours. No, I really could, because another thing too. When I had this tea yesterday morning and I was filled with all this energy, I never had an energy crash like you get with the energy drinks and you get with coffee. That didn't happen either. I was really pumped up all day yesterday long. In fact, I was bugging Ronnie like 7:00 in the morning. Yes, okay. Telling him how much I love the tea. But we are out of time. We're with Ronnie McMullen, getthetea.com. Ronnie, what do you want to leave us with?
I would say be well and really focus. Everybody focuses on their finances. They focus on this, that, and the other. Focus on your health and how you feel, because that changes your life, is how you feel.
That's so true. And when your mind is clear and your body is healthy, you can make more money. You can get more projects done. You can get more things done. Ronnie McMullen, getthetea.com. Thank you so much, brother. We'll have you on again soon.
Thank you very much.
Good night. All right, they had Ronnie McMullen, getthetea.com. It's our brand new sponsor. I'm really excited about it. And like I said, listen, if the guy wanted to sponsor, he would have sponsored, but I would have took him anyway. But I tried this stuff yesterday and I'm over the top on how much I'm enjoying this stuff. I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about my experiences on the after show. But if you enjoyed today's show, check out OppermanReport.com. We have 2 brand new shows up in the members section. One is a lost, well, they're both lost episodes. One is a lost episode about the guy who said what happened in Vegas. He came to Vegas. He was at a strip club and the cops beat him up. And he's now his show's all over the place. You can find it on Vios and, now he has a whole he added a theory about the Las Vegas shooting at the Mandalay Bay. I didn't watch that part, but anyway, we had him on the show and then he got all upset about the comments on YouTube. He didn't like the comments and he had a hissy fit. So we took it down. Now it's in the member section. I did another show with a guy too, had some legal troubles. I was trying to help him out. Then he didn't like the show too. He had a hissy fit, so we put it in the member section. So, hey, free work for me. You'll never talk me out of a day off, okay? I got 4 hours of content there for you, and I don't have to do any extra work. So it's in the member section now at OppermanReport.com. We're toward the end of the month. So I need your support. I need your help. If you want to sign up for 13 months, I'll give you 13 months for $60. I don't often do that, only when we're struggling. And we are at the end of the month. Welcome to Ronnie McMullen, our newest sponsor, getthetea.com. Check it out. I tried it myself, and I'm enjoying it. If the day comes when I don't like it, I'll tell you. But for now.
And now a word from our sponsors.
People are waking up. They're standing up to those pushing pesticides and GMOs as safe alternatives for a starving world. What a bunch of crap. I tell you, I'd rather eat dirt. So I drink Life Change Tea. It's an herbal drink, cleansing my body of toxic sludge and nasty chemicals, and of course, ridding the intruders that are hidden in my so-called food. And by the way, Life Change Tea is non-GMO and organic. No fillers, no yuck. Just a great defense against you-know-what. May the supplement force awaken you. Don't fall to the dark side. Sorry, I went to the movies last night. Anyway, enough said. How do you get that herbal drink and change your life? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. You will awaken. You will get stronger, and you might even lose a bit of weight. So awaken to Life Change Tea and the many one-of-a-kind supplements at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. May the supplement force be with you.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubashTechnosis.com. Subhash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subhash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubhashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subhash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also AwakeRadio.us. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by EmailRevealer.com. You can go to EmailRevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all those kind of different services for you. Online dating service investigations called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites. And we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. And all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com.